Vavpay is an educational business application based on consciousness direct utility network effect that enables seamlessly harnessing addictions and strengthening the immune system. In this presentation, I'm going to address the following three questions. What sort of algorithms does Vavpay application is based on? How Vavpay algorithms assist users to harness their addictions? And how can Vavpay algorithms be monetized? To begin with, it is important to emphasize that encryption algorithms are literally everywhere, whether we think about social media platforms, internet browsers, online e-commerce, music apps, TV programs, or blockchain Web3. Their objective is usually to collect and measure data. How much digital assets users keep in their wallets, how much of those assets has been invested in crypto projects, or how users react when they are displeased with their investments. There is, however, another group of algorithms, much more subtle and sophisticated, that users are not aware of at all. The objective of such encryption algorithms is to create within a user an observation which in turn shall be defined as a literal reality. For example, imagine an application on the interface of your computer which can be opened, closed, or moved by the virtue of your finger. Contrary to what we perceive and feel about these activities, it doesn't mean they are literally true. The activity of relocating an application only exists on the interface of the computer. The true world of this application looks completely different. It consists of hundreds of thousands of numbers, figures, codes, digits, and signs, which are located on the smart contract of the blockchain, thousands of miles away from your computer. So what we experience when we relocate an application on the interface of our computers, phones, or TV sets is a limited perception of that true world. But because those activities feel so authentic and are so compelling, we literally believe that we are moving them around. Another quick example. Imagine your friend has just deleted from your phone a music icon, including a database of your favorite songs and lectures. Although there is a cloud storage, you won't be able to recover that data. We have a situation now. We literally picture it as if our music was placed in the hands of our friend and tossed into a fireplace. Otherwise, we wouldn't be reacting so furiously. Interestingly, the same principle exists in our time, space, and motion reality. All physical objects, cryptocurrency, Web3 blockchain projects, watching TV, drinking coffee, release of cortisol, dopamine, epinephrine, depression, orgasm, buying clothes, addictions, emotions, memory, thoughts, imaginations, pain, dreams, and encryption algorithms are nothing more than applications installed within the time, space, and motion interface called life. And that is why it's so hard to break out of addictions or other unbeneficial attributes, because we truly, sincerely, and literally perceive the time, space, and motion interface as the true world. But the world we live in works pretty much the same way as the world of applications that are on the interface of our computers. But if our physical reality is illusionary, as is the interface of the computer, what would happen if we destroyed with a hammer a computer that physically exists in the time, space, and motion reality, where all our data, accounts, passwords, and crypto codes were installed? Now we deal with something that is much more real, serious, and literal than an application on the interface of the computer. Now we have a serious problem to solve, isn't it? Or is the destroyed computer as illusionary as the deleted music icon with a database? Yes, it is. When we look at this picture, sometimes we see one image and then we look away and we look back and we see another image. It seems the first image we saw wasn't actually there when we looked away. So why sometimes do we see one thing and shortly after, when we look again, we see something else? What does this depend on? It entirely depends on one thing: what we desire to observe. Sometimes we desire one thing, and 30 seconds later, looking at the same situation, person, object, or place, we desire another thing. Because our desires are a reflection of already created observations. We desire what we have already literally observed and registered. For example, you have a sudden desire to make and drink coffee. That awakened desire is an effect of your prior observation that had been created. So, from the first time you made coffee, you keep seeing, making and drinking that coffee. You project to yourself a movie that you had recorded in the past. To you, making and drinking coffee has been with you all the time. And each time you recall that movie, you stimulate your desire to be utilized or fulfilled. And as long as this movie, this observation, resides in your consciousness, you are going to be addicted to that actualized observation. We are addicted to actualized observations which are constantly stimulated by the time, space and motion applications, such as social media, emotions, feelings, addictions, texting a message, or destroying the computer with the hammer. However, one thing is to claim that we are addicted to actualized observation, yet another is to face serious daily challenges, such as anxiety, financial reverses, or depression. On top of that, if the time, space and motion is illusionary, what about some irresponsible actions, such as smashing a window or jumping out of the window? In order to survive within the time, space and motion interface, our consciousness has created a safety valve whose objective is to eliminate errors which can jeopardize our existence and learning processes. Thus, before we are going to be able to take total control over things like a smashed window or jumping out of the window, first we need to learn how to seamlessly harness basic issues such as understanding how the time, space and motion interface reality works. Current mathematical encryption algorithms, quantum cryptography, quantum key distributions, entanglement, enhanced microscopes, or even quantum teleportations are not going to be able to provide a permanent solution to our daily life challenges. Because science is based on data observation, which is derived from the time, space and motion interface. So is there another alternative? Are there other algorithms that are computed on observations that could provide permanent solutions to daily challenges? Yes, they are. Before I address and share how Vavpay consciousness entangled algorithms work, let's have a quick review of some basic scientific facts. Quantum theory deals with the probabilistic nature of physical phenomena and tries to predict where particles may appear and what might happen as a result. Quantum mechanics states that there is no such information that would determine the behavior of a single photon, electron, or other particles we are made of. The whole claim sounds like a conspiracy theory. An unobserved photon or electron can appear simultaneously in two or more places, whereas an observed or measured one pops up only in one place. An electron has 4 levels of identification consisting of 4 quantum numbers, which are called principal quantum number, orbital angular momentum quantum number, magnetic quantum number, and electron spin quantum number. All of these quantum numbers' objective is to determine the probable location of an electron within the atom. Those 4 levels of identification, however, are based on the time, space and motion observation. Thus, as stated before, they will never be able to provide the probable location of the electron. An electron can either have a positive spin, called spin up, or a downward spin, called spin down. Although the electron has an angular momentum and proper magnetic orientation, it's not actually spinning. The electron actually exists in a state called superposition when it has both a positive and negative spin. Imagine a spinning coin. As long as it is spinning, the coin is in a superposition. It can be in 2 possible states. It can be both at the same time, tail or head. Similarly, electrons, who are in their natural wave function, exist in a kind of unknown state, a superposition with both up and down spin. Only when they are measured, they report a definite value of up or down, called the collapse of the wave function. A wave function collapse occurs when an electron, as a wave, that was initially in a superposition of a few states is reduced to a single state due to interaction with the time, space and motion interface. It is because photons or electrons do not actually exist as entities in physical places until they are observed or measured. What happens is that at the time of observation, the wave function collapse occurs. An electron loses its probabilistic existence and potential and manifests itself in the form of solid-looking outcomes such as an encryption algorithm, a phone, cortisol, or addiction. And that is a low-key moment where the time, space, and motion interact with a metaphysical entity. But why does our observation, which seems not to be tangible, cause a wave function to collapse? Because our observations are based on an electron who became a particle. We build our observations on physical aspects. We literally define particles, the time, space, and motion interface, as the true world. And that is the reason why the twin photon or electron hides. They don't belong to that illusionary reality. Imagine an electron who has a perfect pair copy partner. When a pair of entangled electrons are created, they share a wave function called by scientists the quantum entanglement of electrons. When a collapse of a wave function occurs in one of these probability waves, that electron becomes a particle with an up spin. And when this happens, the twin probability wave electron becomes momentarily a particle too, with the opposite spin. But just imagine what would happen if we could control our observations to the point that entangled electrons, while being observed or measured, don't have to react with the opposite spin. Then as a result, our observations to which we are addicted to would become a wave. We would become the electron, the twin partner, so to speak. We could be everywhere and anything. We could be in a superposition state. But is this even possible? Yes, it is. What do we see when we experience a life challenge? The whole motion or a single frame of it. When scientists observe an electron, and at the moment their observation is represented by consciousness of a particle, this observation is going to stimulate the electron to act as a particle. In turn, when scientists observe an electron, and at that moment their observation is represented by consciousness of a wave, this observation is going to stimulate the electron to act as a wave. The problem is that scientists are reluctant to create an observation of a wave. Their superior tenet is to fully understand, comprehend, and control what they have been working on. So, how can we create an observation that would enable entangled electrons to keep their wave function state? The first step is to reduce and slow down the process of particle observation, which causes probable wave function to collapse. Vavpay has devised 7 main consciousness entangled algorithms that reduce and slow down that process. For the scope of this presentation, I'm only going to talk about the main consciousness entangled algorithm, which users are going to encounter in the first level of the Vavpay application. NFT mine consists of 2 simple assignments. In the first assignment, users once a day, 6 days in a week, are going to watch a 60-second video scene. Having it watched, they choose to select 1 out of 5 statements that they must associate with. The first assignment enables users to realize to what observations they are most addicted to. For example, scrolling through social media, you notice a person that you define as arrogant. What would you usually feel and do? A. I feel obliged to do something with that. I can't leave it as it is. I need to post a comment, share it, call, or talk to someone about that arrogance. B. I feel a sudden rush of extra energy. I make an internal silent remark about that person's arrogant behavior. C. I feel anxious, but I laugh out loud. I wish that arrogant person could see me. D. I feel anger, but I am aware that as long as I have this feeling, I am an arrogant and a victim too, as arrogance triggers dopamine release. E. None of the above. The second assignment is based on the consciousness direct utility network. On the 7th day, users are going to be texted the answer that has been selected most frequently during the first 6 days. Users now have 24 hours to implement that activity in their time, space, and motion interface reality and share with the rest of the network through their personal profile that newly created observation. Scientists have concluded that when a particle encounters an antiparticle or matter confronts antimatter, mutual annihilation must result. The reason for this is that when scientists observed that the generated energy is unstable, they are totally oblivious that their own observations are taking part in that exploration. And that is the main cause of that mutual annihilation. The result is not, however, annihilation and chaos, but rather a transcending of the particle from its illusionary time, space, and motion interface reality to the true world, wave realm. The explosion is the demise and removal of another packet of illusionary reality. We experience the same process in our consciousness as well. And each time we face sudden life serious, for example, challenge or challenges, we should know that this is the explosion scientists talk about. If we could only change our observation, as a result we would be able to experience not an explosion of chaos, but total control over the time, space, and motion realm. Mind consciousness entangled algorithm has been built on the following equation. The electron, which represents our present particle observation, is voluntarily willing not to follow that imposed by itself particle observation, resulting in giving birth to a positron who has now a different observation. Out of this new encounter, an explosion is created. However, as I stated before, it is an explosion of harmony, balance, and control over the time, space, and motion interface. The process of particle conversion to wave is additionally supported by a positron with a new observation. All data that has been collected from users during their assignments is not going to be used as a source of Vavpay revenue, nor as an analytical research. This is an important step towards creating long-lasting and genuine connections between users and the Vavpay application. Vavpay application generates three main sources of revenue, which are token sales, NFT sales, and watch advertisements. Consciousness entangled algorithms can surely be monetized in many other areas, such as social media, blockchain Web3 network effects, education, personal development, or psychotherapy. And to sum up this presentation, on behalf of the Vavpay team, I would like to thank you for your time and anticipation, and we sincerely hope that you enjoy at least some part of it. Thank you.